3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Drew Russo, and I'm the Personnel Director for the City of Lynn, and I'm very excited to be here today. This is my 7th Harrington Reads, and while I wish that I was at school with all of you where we're reading together, which has always been so much fun, I'm really grateful that Mrs. Schutzer gave us the opportunity to read to you this way. And I do want to take a minute to thank Mrs. Schutzer. She's retiring this year. She's the person that brought me and so many of these other great people that come in to read to you to Harrington. And I want to wish her well and just express our friendship for her and our gratitude for all that she does, not only to instill her love of reading in all of you, but how she carries that forward for all of us too. And she actually sent me a book to read for you today. It's called The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. And so we're gonna give a whirl to Brian, The Invisible Boy. And it's a book that's also illustrated by Patrice Barton. Can you see Brian, the invisible boy? Even Mrs. Carlotti had trouble noticing him in her classroom. She's too busy dealing with Nathan and Sophie. Can you see Brian? Where do you think Brian might be? Nathan has problems with what Mrs. Carlotti calls volume control. He uses his outside voice too much. People tell me I do the same thing. Sophie whines and complains when she doesn't get her way. Nathan and Sophie take up a lot of space. Brian doesn't. When the bell rings for recess, Micah and JT take turns choosing kids for their kickball teams. The best players get picked first, then the best friends of the best players. Then the friends of the best friends. Only Brian is left, still waiting and hoping. JT glances in Brian's direction and just as quickly looks away. We've got enough players for each team, he tells the others. Let's play ball. But not Brian. In the cafeteria, Madison and her friends talk about her birthday party. The rope swing over the pool was awesome, says JT. Yeah, so was the water slide, adds Fiona. That was the best pool party ever. I'm so glad you guys had fun, said Madison. Everybody did, except Brian. He wasn't invited. At choosing time, while the other kids play board games and read, Brian sits at his table doing what he loves best. He draws fire-breathing dragons scaling tall buildings. Space aliens locked in intergalactic battles. Greedy pirates digging for treasure. And superheroes with the power to make friends wherever they go. Some of Brian's drawings there. Pretty good, I think. On Monday morning, Mrs. Carlotti introduces Justin, a new student, to the class. Brian smiles shyly at him. Some of the other kids sneak looks at Justin, trying to figure out if he's cool enough to be their friend. They haven't quite made up their minds yet. At lunch, Madison and JT watch Justin eat with chopsticks. What's that? As Madison asks Madison as she points at Justin's food. It's bulgogi. Bul what? Bulgogi. It's Korean barbecued beef. My grandma made it for me. It's really good. Do you want to try some? And the kids laugh. All of them, that is, except Brian. He sits there wondering which is worse, being laughed at or feeling invisible. The next day, when Justin goes to his cubby to put away his backpack, he notices a piece of paper with his name on it. Justin, I thought the bulgogi looked good. Brian. You can see Brian really thinks that he might like it. At morning recess, Brian finds a piece of chalk on the ground and starts drawing right away. "You're Brian, right?" asks Justin. "Yeah," says Brian. "Thanks for the note." "Hey, Justin," Emilio calls out from the tetherball court. "You're up next." "Sorry, I gotta go," says Justin. "By the way, that's a really cool drawing," he adds before taking off. Back in class, Mrs. Carlotti asks the kids to team up in 2s or 3s for a special project. The kids scurry around the room to pair off. Brian heads toward Justin. "I'm already with Justin," says Emilio. "Find someone else." Brian looks at the floor, wishing he could draw a hole right there to swallow him up. But then Justin says, "Mrs. Carlotti said we can have up to 3 people in our group. We're only 2. Come on, Emilio, let him work with us." "Okay," Emilio says, "I guess." Mrs. Carlotti gives the class directions for the project. Your assignment is to work together to write a story about what you see in the photograph. Here's the photograph right there. Use your imagination and have fun. "Whoa, cool," says Emilio. "What kind of people do you think live in houses like that?" "I don't know, but I bet Brian could draw them to go with our story," says Justin. Brian smiles as he takes out his lucky pen. Look at him looking so happy there. And look at them working together. Looking at the picture, then doing some artwork, and then coming up with their pictures. Look at how cool those are. Look at what talent Brian has. And Emilio and Justin too. But then it's lunchtime again, Brian's least favorite part of the day. After 20 long minutes of kids talking and laughing with everyone else but him. "Brian," he hears someone shout. "Hey, Brian, over here." Brian turns and sees Justin waving him over. Emilio nods as he makes room for Brian at the table. "Would you like a cookie?" Justin asks. "Thanks," Brian said. Maybe, just maybe, Brian's not so invisible after all. And that's it, the end. The Invisible Boy by Trudy Ludwig. I hope that in these difficult times that you're all well and that you're taking care of yourself and you're trying to connect with your friends as much as you can. But always remember, as this story tells us, it's so important to be kind and to look out for that kid in the class that might need your help and your friendship. It really does mean a lot. Take care, have a wonderful summer, and I hope to be back with you in the classroom again next year. And thanks again to Mrs. Schutzer for this opportunity to take part in Harrington Reads. Take care.